ladies and gentlemen, and being a producer of Wrestle Massacre as well as Inside Movies Galore, I am David Strege, and welcome to Delusions of Grandeur. Enjoy the reviews. I certainly did. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Delusions of Grandeur. I'm David Strege, and here I have another review for you, this time of a 2018 filmed film called Looking Glass, which was apparently originally supposed to be a music video director, Dory Oskowitz's feature-length debut back in 2016, but is now helmed under veteran Tex director from 1986, which he's no stranger to the horror film community, but it has been a while since he's done full-on feature, and I would consider this partly like a mainstream independent horror film, because there's independent film, then there's the mainstream films, but there are independent films of the mainstream, which I will have to say that this falls under that category. So using the production companies of Highland Film Group, HFG, DTLV Cinema Society, also in association with Goldfinch Australia, along with Kirkshaw Productions, in association with Pretty Bird and Silver State Production Services. But apparently they go with Motel Voyeur and Momentum Pictures as a distributor. So yeah, so this film is called Looking Glass, and here's what the film looks like. It stars a couple that is played by Nicolas Cage and Robin Tunney. Robin Tunney has been on my radar since The Craft, and she played alongside The Mentalist, which I thought was a hilarious show, even though it had something to do with murder and all that jazz. I have enjoyed the characters that she brings to screen. And Nicolas Cage, yeah, he's a weird actor, and lately he's gotten a lot of independent film. In fact, I would have to say he's one of the more desperate male actors who will just jump at any role just to play a role, probably because he needs that money. But he plays a guy by the name of Ray, and Robin Tunney, his estranged wife, I believe, by the name of Maggie. And they end up taking a job in a motel somewhere in a desert, and they take up the reins of an older man, that evidently Ray had answered an ad for, and he doesn't really tell him much about the motel. Just needs to get out of the business and whatnot. So as Ray is cleaning up the place, he stumbles across a room that you have to kind of go through the base, like this basement area, and it's all cobwebbed and shit like that. And evidently, it leads you to a two-way mirror that ends up directly behind the room in room 10 in the hotel motel that they are running. And at first, there's a trucker that brings his young streetwalkers in to play around with, but there is a young woman who ends up staying at their place and ends up disappearing in. And I believe that there is another woman who is involved in this, that makes Ray think that this young woman has actually murdered this other woman. And in a sense, we see that Ray becomes this voyeuristic like watcher, and he the way he starts to enjoy watching these various happenings at night is very creepy, and makes it a very weird performance. And Nicolas Cage is already weird of his own accord. So it is definitely a unique atmosphere. There are definitely problems between Ray and Maggie that begs some questions. Yeah, so let's talk about the characters. Well, Maggie, apparently she was an addict of some sort after something happened to apparently their daughter, and Ray was a drinker. So apparently he doesn't drink anymore. Apparently this particular story is actually based on a documentary about a voyeuristic type of a dude that apparently it's about an exaggerated Hollywood version of the true life story of a Gerald Foos, who owned a Colorado motel and secretly watched his guests, specifically designed the ceiling vents specifically for his voyeuristic tendencies. So in comes some of the characters involved in the town. So across the way, there's a gas station where apparently the people who work for this gas station just kind of stare at people as they either walk past or whatnot, and they seem to be like their own kind of hoodlums. And they even act sort of strange. It's like everyone in the town seems kind of vaguely in a daze. And the person that seems out of sync with the whole thing is the sheriff that seems to walk in, grab some coffee every morning. And that is the person that doesn't make sense, like he's trying to get a lay of the situation. And which begs the question as to what starts and begins to happen. Apparently, a pig was thrown into to a pool to upset Maggie, and once Maggie figures out what Ray has been up to, even though it seems like the story is kind of building to build that Ray is actually cheating on her, something like that, and when they were supposed to come here for a new beginning. It didn't turn out to be that way, and I like the fact that, not everyone was happy in the very end. I enjoyed the performances and all. This was a very slow burn, um, but it definitely had that creep factor. I don't know why, but when you put a hotel that has that peep show kind of a kind of quality about it, it makes it somewhat interesting. I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that I have an appreciation for that kind of a lifestyle. Not that I'm a voyeur myself, but um, films like this kind of interest me, and I'll just say it. I just enjoy that that the director was actually able to um, bring about its own flavor. Even though I know it was supposedly based on the guy that I um, explained earlier. So hopefully you enjoyed my description of this film. Like and subscribe to my page if you've not. Definitely check out the movie for your own self. You're going to have your own opinions. And your opinion may differ from mine, so bear that in mind. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it was one of the better films that Nicolas Cage has been in, and I think it's worth at least a one-time watch. So definitely check the film out and enjoy my reviews. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, evening, or morning, wherever you are. Hopefully, you just appreciate the film for what it is. Thank you so much.